That the young man who shot John Lennon was not you? What are you saying?
It was me, Larry, and I accept full responsibility for what I did. I've seen places where I'm blaming the devil, and I hope that isn't kept going after this interview. I'm not blaming the devil, I'm blaming myself, but in the major sense, it wasn't me, because I'm better now. I'm normal, I'm functioning, I have a lovely wife, and we have a great marriage, as much as, you know, can be had from here, from Attica. But I'm not the same person in the major sense, because back then I was lost, and I didn't know who I was, but now I do.
All right. But so it was you, but the personality of you is different now.
Well, I didn't have a personality then, and I do now.
All right, who was Mark David Chapman?
On December 8, 1980, Mark David Chapman was a very confused person. He was literally living inside of a paperback novel, J.D. Salinger's A Catcher in the Rye. He was vacillating between suicide, between catching the first taxi home back to Hawaii, between killing, as you said, an icon.
By the way, would you have killed someone else, do you think? Would Mark David have done that if it weren't Lennon?
The Secret Service asked me that if Lennon would had unfortunately died a few days prior, say in an automobile accident, would you have stalked someone else? I can't answer that question. I don't know. I was so bonded with John Lennon at that point. What I told them is I'd probably be crushed, and at that point I don't know what I would have done.
Therefore, you have to have daily regrets.
I have regrets. I'm sorry for what I did. I realize now that I really ended a man's life. Then he was an album cover to me. He didn't exist even when I met him earlier that day when he signed the album for me, which he did very graciously. And he was not a phony, by the way. He was very patient, and he was very cordial, and he asked me if there was anything else. So if that didn't register, and I had also met his son that day, if that didn't register that he was a human being, then I wasn't perceiving him as such. I just saw him as a two-dimensional celebrity with no real feelings.
Why did Mark David Chapman want to shoot the album cover?
Mark David Chapman at that point was a walking shell who didn't ever learn how to let out his feelings of anger, of rage, of disappointment. Mark David Chapman was a failure in his own mind. He wanted to become somebody important, Larry. He didn't know how to handle being a nobody. He tried to be a somebody through his years, but as he progressively got worse, and I believe I was schizophrenic at the time, no one can tell me I wasn't, although I was responsible, Mark David Chapman struck out at something he perceived to be phony, something he was angry at, to become something he wasn't, to become somebody.
Mark, why are you blaming a book?
I'm not blaming a book. I blame myself for crawling inside of the book, and I certainly want to say that J.D. Salinger and The Catcher in the Rye didn't cause me to kill John Lennon. In fact, I wrote to J.D. Salinger. I got his box number from someone, and I apologize to him for this. I feel badly about that. It's my fault. I crawled in, found my pseudo-self within these pages.
In Holden.
And played out the whole thing.
But Holden wasn't violent.
Holden wasn't violent, but he had a violent thought of shooting someone, of emptying a revolver into this fellow's stomach, someone that had done him wrong. But you're right, he was a basically very sensitive person, and he probably would not have killed anybody as I did, but that's fiction, and reality was standing in front of the Dakota.
What, Mark, got you better? What cured what you believe was schizophrenia?
Well, not medication and not doctors, but the Lord. I've walked in the power of the Lord now for a number of years.
How'd that happen?
Well, I became a Christian when I was 16, Larry, and that lasted about a year of genuine walking with Him. Through my life, off and on, I have struggled with different things, as we all do, and at those times I would turn to the Lord. The night of the death of John Lennon, I was far from Him. I wasn't listening to Him. I wasn't reading the Bible anymore. Today, I'm different. I read the Bible, I pray, and I walk with Him. He forgives me. He doesn't condone what I did, and that's a very important thing. He didn't like what I did 12 years ago. He didn't like all the pain I caused everybody, and especially John's widow. But He forgives me, and He hears me, and He listens to me, and He is the one, all these years, that has brought me out of the abyss, not medications or counseling.